Once we've talked about inputs, now we're going to talk about the types of inputs. So all the different ways that users can input information on a website. This will just be the kind of common basic ones, but you'll get a sense of it, and you'll probably have seen some of these before. So input tags, let me lowercase that just to make it look more like you'll typically be typing. Input tags are primarily modified with the type attribute. So you'll say input, you'll put the ID and the name as we've talked about before, and then you'll say type equals, and then you'll pick one of these things below. And these are all different ones that can be done, and we'll just run through them real quick. So the text will create a single line of text. So that's what most of what you're used to seeing, like those short little text box, that's probably a text type. The password creates a censored line. So if you've ever seen when you're typing in your password on a website, it shows either stars or dots. That's because that's a password type. So it doesn't have to be for a password, it just has to be for something that you don't want showing up on the screen while people are typing it. Then you've also got the number input, which will specifically focus on numbers, and it'll usually have a little set of buttons off to the side, up and down, that increase or decrease, so people can kind of choose it, or they can type it in. The range creates a slider, so if you have something that's like on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your service? And you've got the little bar with the circle or the square or something that you can drag back and forth. That's with a range. The checkboxes is a bunch of items with checkboxes next to them. Checkboxes let users choose as many or as few as they want from the list. And this contrasts with the next one, which is the radio, which is a radio button, which are circles, and users can only choose one of them. So they're basically the same, or they're a list with a bunch of things that you can click on, but checkboxes allow multiple, radio only allows one. And then lastly, you've got the submit type. And this just creates a little button that says submit, and that's what's actually needed for the users to submit the data. So you can put all the other stuff on, but it doesn't actually get sent anywhere unless you create a input type equals submit, and that creates the button that users can click on. There are two other tags that you'll experience, two other elements. So these don't use input, they're their own thing. And the first is, let me double check, select. And that creates a drop-down menu. So if you don't want them to have everything listed out and then have them click, select will let there be a drop-down menu where they pick one. And then there's also text area. And so if you want something like you want them to be able to input an essay or write a longer response than just a single line, text area lets you set a custom size field. So you can make it as wide as you want and as tall as you want. That's the basics for inputs, the different types of inputs. And if you have any questions, as always, please ask.